Hello student, myself Professor Ushali Tapde from ICEEM Engineering College. Today we will discuss about use case relationship. But before that, in just 5 minutes we revise whatever we have covered till that. Okay, so we are started with our second chapter, that is a use case modeling. In that we have seen that what is a use case diagram, why there is a need to draw the use case diagram, how the functional requirement of your system is represented with the help of use case diagram. Okay, so what is the use case diagram or why it is drawn? To show the functional requirement of our system. Then there are three main components of the use case diagram. We have discussed one by one in detail. So previously we have already discussed about the actor, which is the first component of our use case diagram. So actor who initiate the functioning of our system. Okay, so now we see what is an actor, then what are the different type of actors, then we have seen that how to identify the actors, what is the role of actor in our system. After that we had seen the second component of our use case diagram, that is nothing but a use case. Okay, so in the last lecture we have discussed about the use case. What is the use case? Use case is nothing but an instance which represent the function of our system. That means the functioning of our system is represented with the help of use case symbol, which is drawn inside the boundary of our system. So in last lecture we have seen what is a use case, how to identify the different use case. Okay, so in this lecture we covered the different use case relationships. Okay, so when the use case gets too complex, dependency between the use case can be defined by using the include and extend relationship. That means in the last lecture we have seen how to describe the use cases, right? So we are describing the use case with the help of main sequence and alternate sequence, and as well as the dependency actor. In this way, with the help of different steps, we can describe our use case. But if our use case is too much complex, that means it contains too much sequence, each sequence is represented as a scenario, and if our use case is too much complex, then this use case is shown with the help of different use cases with the help of relationship, that is called as the include and extend relationship. Now the objective is to maximize the extensibility as well as the reuse of the use case. Why we are extending the use case? Why we are showing one use case in a 2 or 3 use cases if it is too complex, to reuse the different concept as well as to extend the functionality of that use case. So with the help of this include and extend relationship, we are showing the use cases. Okay, why we are using the include, or where we are using the include relationship and where we are using the extend relationship. Now inclusion use cases are determined to identify the common sequence of interaction in several use cases. That means if there are 3 use cases, in these 3 use cases, if there are some sequence which is common between all these 3 use cases. Okay, so instead of writing that sequence again and again in each use case, what we are doing, we are making a separate use case and include that use case wherever it is necessary in the remaining use case with the help of include relationship. Okay, so that is the main purpose of the include relationship, to separate the common interaction between the actor and between the use cases, that separate this common interaction with the help of a separate use case and show it with the help of include relationship. Now the next relationship which is provided, that is called as a generalization. Use case generalization is similar to the extend relationship because it is also used for addressing variation. If our use case is too much complex, there are suppose you have multiple choices. For example, we can say payment. Okay, for the payment you can do the payment by cash, you can do the payment by the credit card, you can do the payment by the debit card. Okay, you have multiple choices. So instead of writing each and every sequence, if you are doing the payment by cash, you need to write the sequence for that. If you are doing the payment by the credit card, you need to write the sequence for that. So instead of performing each and everything in a single use case, what we are doing, we are separating these sequences in the separate use case and extend our base use case with the help of these choices. Okay, so where the extend relationship use, when you have a multiple choices, at that time we are using the extend relationship. Okay, so these are the 2 basic relationship which are used to show the use cases. Now first we see the include relationship. As I said, where the include relationship is used, if there is a common interaction between the actor and different use cases of your system. Here we can take one example of our ATM system. When you go into the ATM system, you have a different options. Okay, you can withdraw the cash, you can take the mini statement, that means check a balance, that you can transfer the funds, you can perform different operation with the ATM system. Now all these functions required one thing, that they require to validate the pin. Okay, whatever the operation you need to perform, when you insert the card and you are entering the pin, in each operation what your ATM system does, it validates the pin number. Okay, so in each interaction this is a common sequence, which is the common sequence validating the pin. So instead of writing this sequence in each and every use case, like in a withdraw use case, then you can say in a transfer fund use case, again for the query account use case, you need to write each and every use case this validate pin sequence. So instead of writing this, or instead of repeating this sequence in each and every use case, what we are do, we are separate this sequence, this common sequence, into a single use case, and then include this use case into the base use case with the help of include relationship. So the common sequence of interaction which reflect the functionality that is common to more than one use case, this common sequence of interaction can be extracted from the several original use case, that means a base use case, and made them into the new use case. We can form a new use case for this common interaction, which is called as the inclusion use case. Okay, so an inclusion use case is usually abstract, that means it cannot be executed on its own. We can say that each and every use case, whatever we have drawn inside our boundary of our system, that are get activated with the help of actor, right? But this inclusion use case, it cannot be activated itself. It should be dependent on somewhere. That means it get called by the base use case, then only it get be activated. Now an abstract use case must be executed as a part of executable use case. That means this inclusion use case, it act or it get worked as a part of your base use case. When the base case is get executed, at the same time this inclusion use case is executed, because this is called by your base use case. Separately it is not able to execute. When this common functionality is separated into inclusion use case, this use case can now be reused by other use case. Obviously, when we separate the common interaction, this common interaction can be used by more than one use cases. For more than one base use case can use this common interaction with the help of include relationship. So that we can say this is the reusability concept of our object oriented concept. Instead of writing that thing again and again, what we can do, we can separate that code into the single use case, and whenever it is necessary we can include it in that use case. So this convenience version of the old use case is referred to as a base use case, and the new version is called as the inclusion use case. Okay, so when this common functionality is separated into the inclusion use case, the inclusion use case can be reused by several base use case. As I said, the common interaction can be used by the several different base use cases. Now this inclusion use case does not have a separate actor. Okay, whatever the actor the base case has, that actor is again have the inclusion use case. So whatever the use cases you have drawn inside your system boundary, each and every use case is get activated by a actor, different actors. So each base use case has the actor, but inclusion use case don't have any actor. Whatever the actor in base use case have, that actor is actor for the inclusion use case. Now why it is so? Because inclusion use case is used by the different use cases. It is get included in a different use cases, and these different base use cases has a different actor. So for representing these different actors as the actor of the inclusion use case, instead of that what we do, the actor of the base use case is nothing but the actor of our inclusion use case. So there is no need to show the separate actor for the inclusion use case. Now here we are taking one example for showing the include relationship. In ATM system we can perform different operation, like we can withdraw the cash, we can query the account. Query account mean we can check the balance of our account, then we can transfer fund. We can perform any of these operation with the ATM system. But for all these operation, what we required, we required to validate the PIN. Once we insert the card and insert the PIN number, then what the sequence of step is performed, your ATM system is performing the validation of PIN for each and every operation. Either you can withdraw the fund, you can check the balance of your account, or you can transfer the fund. For each and every operation, a sequence of step which is common, that is nothing but a validation of PIN. So validate PIN is a common process for transferring the funds, withdrawing the cash, as well as the query account use case. So we separate this process into the single use case and validate PIN. Whatever this common interaction, we separate that process into the single use case and give that use case name as a validate PIN, and then this use case is included into the withdraw cash, query fund and transfer fund with the help of include relationship. We will show here with the help of figure. Now if you look at this figure, here we have a three operation: withdraw fund, query account and transfer fund, right? So here all these three use cases have a common sequence which we have separated in a single use case like a validate PIN. Okay, so and we are showing this validate PIN sequence were included in these three base use case with the help of include relationship. How to show the include relationship? With the help of dotted arrow, and here we are saying that this is our include relationship. Okay, in this way you can show the include relationship. So here we are showing the ATM example where ATM customer can perform different operation: withdraw funds, query account or transfer fund. All these have the common sequence of steps, that is nothing but a validation PIN. So we separate this validation PIN steps into the single use case, that is a validate PIN, and then we are including this use case in these three base use case. Here base use cases are nothing but a withdraw fund, query fund and transfer fund. All these three are the base use cases, whereas validate PIN is nothing but an inclusion use case, and whenever it is necessary we can include it in our base use case with the help of include relationship. Now how to give the description for the inclusion use case. As we know, in the last lecture we have seen how to describe the use case. In the same way we can describe our inclusion use case with the help of different tags. That is, now here we are showing how to describe the validate PIN. Now validate PIN is our inclusion use case in our example. So how we describe it? With the help of different tag. First we declare use case name. What is the use case name? Validate PIN. Summary, we can say system validate customer PIN. Whatever the PIN that is entered by the customer, system validate it. Then who is the actor for this validate PIN? Whatever the actor for their base use case, whatever the actor for the base use case, that actor work as a actor for the inclusion use case. Okay, so here again the actor for the inclusion use case is nothing but a ATM customer. What is our precondition? Whatever the operation you want to perform in the ATM system, precondition is that ATM is idle. There should be no one present inside that ATM room, and ATM system is displaying the welcome message. This is the precondition. Now what is the main sequence for the validation PIN? We need to write down the scenario. What is the sequence of step that is carried out for the validation of the PIN? We are write downing it in a main sequence. So what? Customer insert the ATM card into the card reader, then system recognizes that card and reads the card number. After that, system prompts the customer for the PIN number, then customer enter the PIN. System check the card expiration date, okay, and whether the card has been reported as a stolen or lost. For that, system verify the card. Then if card is valid, then system check whether user enter PIN number matches with the card PIN number that is maintained by our system. If the PIN number matches, then system check what account are accessible with the ATM card. Then system displays the customer accounts and prompts customer for the transaction type, withdraw, query and transfer. That means these many steps are followed by our system to validate our PIN number. Okay, so this is the main sequence. After the main sequence, we need to write the alternate sequence where there is a possible. Alternate sequence is not for each and every step. It is only for that step where the error can be occurred. Okay, we have already seen how to write the alternate sequence in the last lecture, in the lecture of use case. Okay, now here I have shown how to write the description for the inclusion use case. Now we see how to write the description for the base use case. Okay, which is the base use case? Suppose I am withdrawing the fund. So here now my base use case is nothing but a withdraw funds, and this is my inclusion use case. Now we see how to write the description for the we already saw how to write the description for the inclusion use case. Now we see how to write the description for the base use case. Okay, so this is the description for the base use case. Here use case name is withdraw fund. Summary: customer withdraw a specific amount of funds from a valid bank account. Actor is nothing but ATM customer. Now here the part come dependency. In the last lecture I have told you about the when we take the relationship, at that time I have told you about the dependency. Now this base use case is dependent on the validate PIN use case. Till the PIN is not validated, you cannot withdraw the cash. So here dependency, here we can say this base case is dependent on the validate PIN use case because it include the validate PIN use case. Now inclusion PIN use case, it is not dependent on anyone. This is the regarding inclusion use case. So we are not mentioning here dependency parameter, right? But base use case, it is dependent on the validate PIN use case. So we need to include this dependency parameter. So dependency include validate PIN use case. What is the precondition? Again, you required ATM is idle and displaying the welcome message. In the main sequence, now whenever you write the main sequence for your base use case, the very first step is that whatever the inclusion relationship you want to include inside your base use case, here I am including validate PIN use case. Whatever the steps, that is the main sequence of validate PIN use case, that all the 8 steps are included here, and this is the step number 9. That is customer select the option that is a withdrawal. Here we are selecting the option that is a withdrawal. So all the 8 steps of validation of PIN use case is included here, and then we are moving to the selection of withdraw, and then the next steps we are going to write in the main sequence. Okay, whatever the steps you want to write, and after the main sequence you can write the alternate sequence. In this way you can describe the base use case and the inclusion use case. I hope till now you can understood how to use the include relationship. Now we move to the extend relationship. When we are using the extend relationship, for example, I already told you, if our use case is too much complex, that means if I'm doing some online shopping, right, and I want to do the payment after selecting some items, I want to make an order. Okay, so I want to do a payment, so I have a multiple choices for the payment. I can do the payment instead of online shopping. We can see the supermarket. I am going to the supermarket, I want to do the payment. Now I can do the payment by the cash, I can do the payment by the credit card, I can do the payment by the debit card. So now if we have a multiple choices, so instead of writing sequence for each and every choice in the single use case, what we can do, if we write all the sequences in a single use case, our use case is too much complex. So instead of that, what we can do, we separate this sequence in a different use cases and add these use cases with the help of extend relationship. So in certain situation, when our use case is very complex with a multiple options, in that case extend relationship is used to model this alternative path that the use case might take. So use case can become too complex if it has too many alternatives. So solution to this problem is to split off our sequence of interaction of the alternative sequence into a separate use case, and with the help of extend relationship we can show it. So base use case can be extended in a different ways depending on which condition is true. That means a base case is extended. Which case is called? We can do the payment by cash, we can do the payment by credit card, we can do the payment by the debit card. Then if we can say we want to do the payment by cash, only that sequences get called. Remaining use cases are not get called. This is regarding the depending on the condition which is get true, you can calling that use case. Okay, so to extend relationship, we can follow the thing to show a conditional part of the base use case that is executed only under certain circumstances, and to model complex or alternative path. It is important to note that base use case does not depend upon the extension use case. As in the inclusion use case, I say that base use case is dependent on the inclusion use case, but in case of extended use case, base use case is not dependent on the extended use case, whereas extended use case is depend on the base use case. So extension use case on the other hand depend on the base use case. Although extension use case usually extend only one base use case, it is possible for it to extend more than one use case. So base use case can be extended by more than one extension use case. Now next thing about the extension point, where we have to include this extended use case inside our description of the base use case. So extension points are used to specify the precise location in the base use case at which point you want to add this extended use case. Okay, so extension use case may extend the base use case only at this extension point. Each extension point has a name. Each extension point is given a name. Extension use case has one insertion segment for the extension point. This segment is inserted at the location of its extension point in the base use case. A segment that defines a behavior sequence to be executed when the extension point is reached. When you reach to the extension point, at that time, as per the condition, that extended use cases get called and its sequences get included inside your base use case. When the extended use case sequence is finished, after that it moves to the next statement of the base use case. In this way, the description is written for the extended use case. Now here we will take the example. As I say, here we are taking an example of the supermarket system where we want to do the payment. We have a multiple choices: pay by cash, pay by credit card and pay by debit card. So we have here our base use case is a checkout customer. Checkout means we are now to want to pay. Okay, so this is the payment is nothing but an extension point. This is called as an extension point, which is shown inside your use case. Use case is nothing but a bill. You can give any name to this use case. Here I am giving the checkout customer, and my extension point is nothing but a payment. Now I can do the payment by cash, payment by credit card, payment by debit card. So I make write this sequence in a separate use case. Okay, pay by cash, pay by credit card and pay by debit card. I make them as a separate use cases, and here we are showing the extended relationship. These are get included in this checkout customer, and here we are showing the extend payment, cash payment, here cash by the payment by the credit card and payment by the debit card. So inside the triangular bracket we are saying that this is the extended relationship. This is the extension point inside the base use case. Okay, who is the customer? Supermarket customer. This is the actor for this use case. Okay, so in this way we can draw the extended relationship. Now we will see how to describe the extended relationship. Now the base use case description, same like a normal use case description you have described, in the same way you can give the base use case description. Now in this case our base use case is nothing but a checkout customer. So use case name is a checkout customer. Summary: system check out the customer. He want to check how many items our user is purchasing. Then actor is nothing but a customer, supermarket customer. Precondition: checkout station must be the idle, displaying the welcome message. Wherever you want to do the billing, that billing system should be the idle. So main sequence is what? Customer need to scan or need to select some item, then system scan this item and display the item name, price, total. Then customer repeats step 1 and 2 for each and every item he is being purchased. Then customer select the payment option. Okay, now system prompts for payment by cash, by credit card and by debit card. Now in at this step, that means 6th step, we are, this is nothing, payment is nothing but our extended point. Okay, what we are saying, extended point, here we are calling only those use case, extended use case, which get selected by the user. If user is selecting payment by cash, then here only the payment by cash sequences get included. Okay, and then after ending of payment by cash, it moves to the system display thank you screen. Okay, if you are selecting credit card, then it include the credit card sequence and then this thank you screen. In this way, at this position, all the steps, all the main sequence of that use cases get included. Okay, so now we see how to write the description for the extended use case, extension use case. Now here we are I am showing you only the pay by cash extension use case. Now the name of use case is nothing but the pay by cash. Summary: customer pays cash payment, do the payment by the cash. Actor is nothing but a customer. Now dependency. In here, look at here, in the extension use case we are describing the dependency parameter, not in a base case, whereas in the inclusion use case we are defining the dependency parameter in a base use case, not in a inclusion use case, right? So here in the extension use case is dependent on the base use case, so dependency parameter is specified in the extension use case. Here we are saying it is dependent on checkout customer. That is our base use case. Precondition that customer need to scan items but not paid yet. Okay, so main sequence, what is the main sequence for pay by cash? Customer select payment by cash, system prompts customer to deposit cash in a bills, that is in a rupees or in a coins. Customer enter cash amount, system compute changes, system displays total amount, cash payment and change. Then system prints total amount and give receipt to the customer. In this way you can write down the main sequence as well as the alternate sequence for the extension use case. Okay, I hope these two relationships is clearly understood by you, how to use the include relationship as well as the extend relationship. Now we move to the non-functional requirements, how to specify the non-functional requirement. Non-functional requirements can be specified in a separate section of the use case description with the help of parameters, that is non-functional requirement. This is one of the parameter while describing the use cases. So for example, for validate PIN use case, there could be a security requirement that the card number and PIN must be encrypted, right? So we can write down the non-functional requirement parameter that the PIN number and card number must be encrypted. There could be a performance requirement that the system must respond to the actor inputs within a 5 seconds. So we can again write down for the validate PIN the performance requirement as a non-functional requirement. So if the non-functional requirement applicable to a group of related use cases, then they can be documented as such and described in the next section, that is the non-functional requirement, how we write down it inside our use case description. For the validate PIN we can say security, what are the security requirement? System shall encrypt ATM card number as well as the PIN number. And what is the performance requirement? That is system shall respond to the actor inputs within a 5 seconds. So in this way you can specify the non-functional requirement. I hope all the relationship as well as how to specify the non-functional requirement for the use case, you are able to understood this after this lecture. I hope all these things are clear to you. Okay, so in the next lecture we move to the use case diagram. Now we understood about the actor component of the use case diagram, then we take the second component, that is nothing but a use case. We understood about it, and in today's lecture we understood about the different relationship of the use cases. So in the next lecture we are moving to the how to draw the use case diagram by considering all these components. Okay, so thank you.